just to sit so you can let yourself get comfortable. And if you like to lay down, please feel free to do so. Just go ahead and put a pillow under your knees so that you feel your lower back drop and you feel comfortable. Yeah. So just take a moment to settle in and let yourself arrive on your cushion or pillows. And just taking a mindful moment to just notice how you are right now. Just doing a little light scan of your body, noticing how you're showing up, if you're at ease or there's some tension or anxiety. Whatever's here is okay. Conditions are such today in this moment. And whatever you find, I just gently invite you to breathe it out on the out-breath, any tension that you're finding. So you can just notice some tension in your body and just imagine you can gently breathe it out. You may notice some physical tension in your body, some tightness or pain. Or you may notice some mental tension, some stress or stressful thoughts. Or you may have some tension in your heart, emotional tension. Whatever you're noticing, just gently breathing it out, letting it go. No need to hold on to it. In doing so, we just gently empty out all the stress of our day, whatever we've been carrying that's extra. And as you're emptying, allow yourself to just notice some place where you feel comfortable or at ease. Perhaps some place within that feels spacious. And let yourself begin breathing into this space, allowing there to be more peace, more spaciousness. You don't need to try to grow it, but just allow it to get as big as it wants on its own. It can be as big as a dime or your body, or as big as the whole room. Doesn't matter. Whatever feels natural. And finally, allow yourself to become this peaceful energy. Let go of me and all my stories. Let go of time. Just here, just now. Let go of the body and just let the quiet energy be your body. So the quiet energy is breathing. Remembering our essence. Oh, this part of me. Being in the world connected to essence. Thoughts or sensations arrive, and essence just watches them. Not entangled. If your mind gets hooked again, just breathe out tension and find the quiet, breathing into it again. Letting this be who you are. Unentangled, flowing with experience. So you're welcome to hold on to your ease, not grasping, but just allowing. So this evening, it seemed like a good time to talk about non-attachment. You know, there's just so much going on in the world and so many ups and downs. And as we're coming into this election time, things just seem to be heating up. And so I wanted to talk tonight about how we cultivate non-attachment. Yeah. So the place to start is where we are attached. And there's 4 areas that we can get ourselves stuck and attached to. So I just want to kind of go through those and unwind them a little bit tonight. The first one is sense desires. So that's anything that has to do with stuff. You know, I love my coffee. I love my favorite shirt. I love my favorite vacation. It can also have to do with experiences. I love certain smells and sensations and, you know, experiences that I love to have. And so we can get really attached to having our sense desires met. And what's interesting about that is that this has huge implications in terms of like where we are right now in the world. Because a lot of times We might want to work with these for ourselves, for our own less suffering. But what we're being called to right now is the way in which our sense desires have actually really harmed the world. And so we're being told about climate change or white privilege or, all the things that we feel privileged to have. Those things actually are too much. They're unsustainable. And so if we're being asked to change our ways, we really have to be able to cultivate non-attachment to these things. Otherwise, we're going to fight everybody. We can agree in theory about, yeah, I don't need as much stuff, or I shouldn't use as much energy in the world, or those kinds of things. But when the heat comes and you're turning on your air conditioning, what's your practice right there? Like, are you able to do that or not? And I remember one time traveling through China, and I had this one particular guide who was very forthcoming and honest with us. And one of the things he said was that in Asia, that everybody knew that Americans couldn't be uncomfortable. And he said, like, you go in their rooms and they have the highest air conditioning turned on, or, the most ice in their drinks, or whatever it might be. And he said, we've always known that we could undo America just if we made you uncomfortable. So I was like, wow, I had no idea that our reputation went so far across the world. So how do we work with this idea of what's the antidote in terms of being able to work with sense desires? And really, the antidote has to do with using mindfulness and being able to see that sense desires do not give us what they promise. So if you're upset and you're having a stressful day and you think, I just want to eat a cookie, and if I eat the cookie, I'm going to feel better. You can go ahead and eat the cookie and have a lovely time with your cookie, but it didn't do anything for the actual stress. Like, you might have a momentary feeling of like your little 4-year-old comes up and goes, oh, yay, cookie. But 2 minutes later, the stressor you were dealing with is still there, or you have some sadness and you think, oh, I'm just going to go buy something, I'll feel better. And it's like, whatever that thing is that caused your sadness, it's still there. And so we really want to use our mindfulness to study our experience with our sense desires. Look at the stories you're telling yourself about them. Oh, if I buy this, I get this, I have this, it's going to make me feel. And then really find out, does it? And if it does for a second, did it stay? Because that's where you probably will find out, actually, it didn't really deliver on its promise. It doesn't really shift and bring happiness. So there's this quote, renunciation is easy for those who understand that things don't bring happiness. Renunciation is easy when you understand that things don't bring happiness. Happiness is an inside job, as we've heard before. So I just invite you to play with that idea that as you look at the places where you consume a lot or you're attached to your stuff, that you actually might find a different relationship. I know I have, particularly when I've gone on like long retreats, and I get to watch my relationship to things like food or comforts that I think I need to have, or being cold, when I'm meditating and I have to have a sweater and I can't. And then I can kind of work it through. So it's a place where I've got to practice a lot with that. And so I just invite you to that practice as well. The second one is views and opinions. And this one feels really important right now. Because what we're seeing in the world, particularly in the United States right now, is there's so much pain and undoing and harm being caused because of views and opinions. People are clinging to their views and opinions. They're fighting over their views and opinions. They're, throwing mud at each other and saying, you're wrong, I'm right. Some people are so worked up that they even get themselves to levels of violence, right? So this is a really important thing to see on the planet right now, how much harm views and opinions cause, you know? So in this one, we want to be able to have a practice where we're not so attached to our views and opinions. We want to be able to listen to other people, to be willing to be wrong, to be willing to know, or not know, and learn, really. And so when we do this, we put out the fire. There's a lot of fire on the planet right now because of views and opinions. And if we hold ours less tightly and we're willing to listen, we're actually dousing the flames. The fire stops with us. It doesn't go through us in our Facebook post or when we confront our cousin. And so I just want to invite you to this idea that we can practice letting go. And for me, there's a couple of ways I do this. I move from me to we mind. My views and opinions are all about me and the world I want. I want the world this way. And it's like, whoa, what about we? What about we move and we work together here? So that's one way I work with it in myself. I also will move my mind towards, these are my brothers and sisters. These are beloveds. These are my loved ones. These are my cousins. And when I change my mind that way and I remind myself that these are beloved people across from me, I'm much less attached to my views and opinion. And I'm much more interested in the relationship and well-being for all of us. And so it softens my grasp right there. And then the other thing we can do is listen. And we listen for two things. We listen to the other person, and we listen for the gem that's in what they're saying. Because everybody has a gem of truth in what they're saying. Even when they're hot and they're fierce and they're screaming, if we listen really deeply, we can hear a gem of truth. And that we want to work with, that we want to learn about and take in. And we also want to listen for their fear. Because if we hear their fear, we can attend to it. We can say, I'm sorry. One of the great ways I love to play with this is when I'm in contention with somebody or someone's in contention with me, to ask them, what does that mean to you? When I said this, what did that mean to you? That question is so powerful. Because in the meaning, we can see their fear, their pain, their conditioning. And right there, we can talk about that. Because that's really what's fueling the problem in the moment, is the meaning. Yeah. So just a way to think about that. Another attachment that we can have is to rites and rituals. And this is everything from the way I love to make my coffee has to have just this much cream in it, or I brush my teeth. Nope, first I floss, then I brush, however that works, right? To dinners that we make for ourselves that are rituals. They can be religious rituals, practice rituals that we have, spiritual rituals. And the thing about rites and rituals is that they're often kind of maintained from a childlike kind of mind. So they have kind of a magic wish in them, that if I just simply do this ritual, or I just simply do this rite, that some things are going to happen, for instance. One is I'm going to get enlightened, or the gods are going to tap me with their fairy wand and my life is going to be better. Some people have rites and rituals because they really believe that it keeps them in good stead with divine energy. So if I do these prostrations or prayers, or I do this, I'm safe with God. Or if I don't do them tonight, let's say I was too tired to say my prayers, you can watch the mind go into fear. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble. And right there, you're seeing the magical thinking that's in rites and rituals. And the truth is, rites and rituals don't really work because, one, we don't get there through magic and being good. That's not how you get enlightened. That's not how you come to ease in your mind. That's not how you become mature. So in order for us to get there, we have to actually work on the root fears that make us want to use magic to be better. And so when we go towards our fear, we go towards our hatred, we go towards our judgment, when we release those things and we do that inner work for ourselves, we actually become more happy. We actually become more awake. We become more mature. And so we find it through, unfortunately, the personal work we have to do, not through fairy dust and incense and sparkles and whatever else we want to kind of throw at it. So I just want to share this quote from Goenka, a very practical, pragmatic, amazing teacher. He said, "For real happiness, for real lasting, stable happiness, one has to make a journey deep within oneself and see that one gets rid of all the unhappiness and misery that is stored at the deeper levels of our mind." Right? So he's calling us and saying, it's not in the prostrations, it's not in the rituals. You want to be able to be happy even if there's no cream for your coffee today. If you're not happy when there's no cream for your coffee, you're relying on rites and rituals. Like, darn it, gotta have my cream, right? So it's that idea that, and that's a great way to see it, right? If you see yourself getting pissed that one of your rituals just blew up, very attached to that ritual, very attached to that one. So you might want to work with that one a little bit, yeah? Because we want real awakening, right? We want real awakening. I see this sometimes when I'm looking at people in terms of wanting the world to change right now. They keep wanting some outside force to do it, right? I keep hearing things like, where's the leader who's going to lead us? Where's the calm going to come from? It's like, well, the calm's going to come from here. It's going to come from inside us, right? We want to be able to handle our own life and our own stress. So, something to think about there. Yeah. The next attachment that we can get stuck with is the attachment of our sense of self, who I believe me to be, right? And that's a sticky one. That's a really sticky one, because when we start messing with our sense of self, a lot of people get uncomfortable, they can feel afraid, and so we want deep practice to be able to handle this. So, for instance, one of the things I just want to point out, it's obvious when you think about it, but it's not how we feel about this, right? The truth is, you're not 16 anymore. You're not who you were at 20. You're not who you were at 30. We can keep going, right? For some of us, we have illness, and we didn't have illness earlier in our life, right? For some of us, we have aging, or our body's changing. Your belly fell out, and now that's sagging, and now there's crow's feet around your eyes, right? And it's like you look in the mirror and you're like, who is this? That's not me. I don't have gray hair. Where'd that come from, right? And so when we cling to a sense of self, particularly one from the past, it's so painful because it's not based in reality. It's not based in reality. We all know people like that. We've all seen people who are, in their 50s or 60s trying to act like they're 16. And you're just like, oh, ow, oh, that's so painful, right? So clinging to a sense of self that has to be this way, has to be healthy, has to be this age, has to be young, has to be beautiful, can't get dementia, whatever it might be. We cause so much suffering. And a lot of times we want to fight with people in this right in our views and opinions when someone points out you're not like you think you are. You know, somebody might say, let's say you're angry and you feel scared and you think you're protecting yourself, and someone says, no, you actually just come across as a real mean person, right? And we get all flustered up. It's like, oh, my sense of self is I'm the victim. And it's like, no, actually you're being really mean. So it hooks into views and opinions about me. So what's the antidote here? The antidote is that we shift our sense of perception of being or self. Who am I really? It's like one of the great spiritual questions. Who am I? You can ask it as an inquiry question over and over again. Who am I? Who am I? It changes moment to moment. Changes moment to moment. So one way we do this is we actually play in this mindfulness, and this is why I do this each week in our meditation part, in our mindfulness part, is that I invite you to be with your body as it is right now. If you think about it week to week, it's probably different. And then I invite you to be with the energy that's flowing and changing and moving. And so what I'm doing is helping us practice knowing ourselves this way. I'm not just Maureen, I like to call Maureen Incorporated. I'm not Maureen Inc. as a solid figure and she's always this way. I'm changing, bubbling, flowing. Feelings are moving. Today there's an ache. Tomorrow there isn't one. Whatever it might be. Today there's wellness. Tomorrow there may not be. Right? So that's one way. We change this idea of letting ourselves become this flowing entity of experience, of energy. And the other way we do is to step back into essence, to know this part of ourself as well. And so when we step back into the quiet and we become the quiet for a moment, and we're that quiet energy watching the world, noticing things going by, not entangled with it, we have a much deeper experience of who we really are. And this can even go deeper when we take it into spiritual practice. And so there's this whole idea that I am not Maureen Incorporated and who you told me I was and all the post-its that you gave me and what degree I might have or not have. I'm this alive, effervescent, bubbly, joyful, changing fluid, and also peaceful, calm, and immense space that is so much more than what might be happening to my body or my hair or whatever's going on, right? And so this protects us in really deep ways. When we know ourselves as this, we're not afraid to change, we're not afraid to get old, we're not afraid to die. We don't have to cling to our rites and rituals, and we don't have to cling to our views and opinions. And we end up landing in this soft, mature, lovely, loving place, filled with joy, filled with incredible joy. So as we do this, we find we're not clinging to any of those attachments. If I come to rest in myself as this effervescent, changing, alive, beautiful nature, I'm less attached to my stuff. I understand that stuff's going to go, stuff's going to break. It doesn't define me. I'm not defined by my house or my car or my clothes. I'm defined by something much deeper and richer. So we can give up our sense desires. We can know that we're okay even when we're hot and we're not using our air conditioning because we want to help with climate change or something like that. We give up our views and opinions because we sit in essence and we start to look at the world with what's called clear comprehension. We're not entangled and we start to see the world much more clearly. We see people more clearly, their fears more clearly. We see with love. And we don't need rites and rituals to prop us up anymore. It's fine if we have them. It's okay to have some. You know, Christmas is sweet or Thanksgiving is sweet. These rituals are sweet. But if they go in the toilet or something falls apart or COVID happens and you can't go see somebody for Christmas, we'll be okay. We'll be okay. So I just want to read this quote from James Barres. He says, "When we are not attached to who we think we are, life can move through us, playing us like an instrument. When we live in this easy connection with life, we live in absolute joy. We become the flow, we start to surf, we start to have a good time, even when it gets crunchy. Right? Doesn't matter if the wave is 4 feet or 30 feet. If you know how to surf, you're okay. You're okay." And I just want to share this other quote by Pema Chodron that I think is just so beautiful. She says, "In the end, it is crucial for all of us to find a practice that helps us have a direct relationship with the groundlessness of life, the change, impermanence, even death. We can get used to the fleeting quality of life in a natural, gentle, even joyful way. By watching the seasons change, we can watch the day turn into night, watch children grow up, watching sandcastles dissolve back into the sea. But if we don't find some way to make friends with the ever-changing energy of life, we will always struggle to find stability in an ever-shifting world." So life is changing. It's heating up at the moment. It might get really big. Who knows? You know? But we can be ready for it when we're unattached and we're in our practice. We're taking time to be with ourselves the way we really are and to be with our essence. And then we can be part of the antidote, part of the solution, part of the calm in the storm, the refuge, both for ourselves and for those of our beloveds around us. So I invite you to this practice of non-attachment. You know, we can be unattached and then we can be grateful for what is beautiful and what is here and know that it's temporary. You know, you have a great cup of coffee with the perfect amount of cream. It's like, yes, you can absolutely savor that. Enjoy. And when it's all over, you don't whine. It's like, that was really great. And we're grateful for our coffee or our favorite dinner or walk with a friend, whatever it might be. We're grateful. We practice gratitude all day. And then we feel full, even though it's changing and moving and shifting. We feel full. So I hope this is of benefit for your practice. Yeah, it's good stuff. And I know that I can tell you for my own life, the more I practice this way, the more joy I feel, the more at ease I feel, even when it's stressful. I find that I don't get caught as easily, which is really sweet to be able to be stable in the middle of so much change. Um, So let's just take a moment for a mindful moment, just so that we share the intention that we're cultivating here. And so you can close your eyes if you like, or look gently at the floor. And I just invite you to touch in to what feels good, what feels at ease in this moment. That is truly a place of non-attachment, a place where you are non-attached. And may all beings come to know the peace of non-attachment. May all beings come to know themselves as their alive, fluid, beautiful energy that can shift and change with all the changing conditions and be okay. May we all let go of our clinging and attachment so that we come back into balance on this planet, taking only what we need, not more, and being satisfied and joyful and at ease with that, so that all beings may live in good health, well-being, and happiness.